And we're back with a new board review coming from Green Room Surf Reviews. It's the Flat Earth by Slater Designs, which is a collaboration with Akila Aipa.
It's Flat Earth. It's by Firewire, or is it by Slater?
Slater Designs is part of Firewire.
And it's also a collab with Akila Aipa. It's like a 3-in-1.
Yeah.
Got it.
Like sherbet ice cream. Well, there's actually a little bit of history. I did a little bit of digging. He actually comes from a Hawaiian bloodline of shapers. His father, Ben Aipa, was a major shaper linking all the way back into the 1970s. He was known for making this straight-railed swallowtail that was like really highly, like a high-performance board. And so Akila grew up under his dad's, surfboard shaping. In the 90s, he surfed professionally, and since then has transitioned into a shaper of his own, and more recently has gained steam with these collaborations with Slater Designs and Firewire to produce what we now know as the Flat Earth.
That is interesting.
It is interesting. I mean, he's like, he was just like an aloha surf shaper turned into like, he's kind of a big deal now. Okay, so let's talk tech specs. Let's talk bottom contours first. Essentially, the front, maybe 2/3 of the board is just a gradual single concave. And then when it gets to the back third of the board, it goes into a nice double concave. Our last board was a G-skate, and that had a pretty interesting tail. This board, in a similar fashion, also has an interesting tail. We'll call it notched. So it has 2 notches on both sides going down to kind of like a pin. It's like a notched pin tail. And it's the thing that immediately stands out if you look at the board. It's really interesting. Also interesting to note is the fin placement. So if you look at the fin placement on this board, it's set up to either be ridden as a twin or a 2+1 trailer. And depending on the conditions, you can ride it as a twin, as a trailer, or you can even do like a standard thruster board, which I think is interesting. So it's a really versatile design. Foam leaderage is also super unique to this board. So everything that I've read and from what I've experienced, this board can be ridden at your standard volume, but it's actually encouraged to be ridden 1 to 3 liters more than your standard. So typically I'm riding in like the 26, 27 range, and the stock board that I was riding is a 5.7, and that leaderage is a 28 point something. And I initially was thinking like, oh my gosh, when you were in CCS and you texted me like, hey, there's this board in here, and we're like, oh, it's like 28.5. It's too fat. And everyone said, you should go up. Like going up is actually a good thing with this board. And I totally agree. Going up, maybe like 1 inch, but 1 to 3 liters in volume, it works. It doesn't feel like you're shoving too much board around. Wide point on this board is a little bit back from center. So I found that interesting. It's not, it's a little more bladey than a pod mod or a G-skate, or even like a rocket wide. The wide point's a little further back.
If you take away the fin placement and the weird tail, it looks like a proper shortboard, like with like a heavy dose of like the 90s elf shoe. I mean, it's not a full-on elf shoe board, but like it's definitely got like a very thin and narrow nose with some rocker. And in my experience, we'll get to it here in a little bit, but in my experience, it surfs in a similar manner.
Middle brother is 5'10", 158 pounds as of yesterday. I'm regular foot, more centered or front foot oriented. And the board that I'm riding is a 5'7", 28.4 liters. And it feels like a juicy peach under these feet, under these pups.
Okay, so brother number 1 here. Well, I'm 5'11", 155 to 160, depending on the day. I'm goofy foot, and I usually ride more neutral back. I usually ride right around 5'7", 27 liters, like with the fish beard or the G-skate. Riding on the same board that Steven is on right now. I had it first, and then I passed off the sloppy seconds to him.
Okay, it was my board to begin with, but that's okay.
Yes, that is true. Steven gave me first surf on the board. It was actually very nice.
So performance ratings, what would you guys rate the board, and what are the ideal conditions that you would want to surf this board in? Steve-O, You are the Surf Dad Repeat, so why don't you lead us off here?
I'm going 4.5. I have loved this board, connected with it on the very first day. I actually surfed the G skate first in the same exact conditions, and then I moved directly to the flat earth, and I had way more fun. I had way more fun on the flat earth than the G skate, hands down. Didn't really connect with G skate. Love the flat earth. I honestly think it does everything. It has drive, but it also has release. I can pretty much do every maneuver that I can do in my skill set on this board, but it feels like it's just a little easier. So easy to surf. It does what I want to do, what I want it to do. What more can you ask for? Nothing. It's been awesome.
Why?
Let me talk ideal conditions.
Okay.
I have surfed it in everything from sloppy small surf all the way up to like head high. I haven't surfed it in like overhead surf yet, but it obviously does well in like the waist to head high realm. It works in smaller stuff, but obviously, you know, surfing in super small waves is hard regardless. But I found it to be almost a magic board, or it is a magic board in waist to head high. It's super fun.
But why not a full 5 stars?
You know, I haven't surfed it in anything overhead high, so I don't quite know how it performs in that. And then the only thing that's interesting is I feel like on front hand roundhouses, like cutbacks all the way into the whitewater, I don't know, I haven't been able to fully nail like a super smooth transition from like going forward to like cutting all the way back and hitting it. It almost feels like that notch in the tail has like a weird transition from one point to the next. And it could just be the waves also, but with snaps and throw tails and 360s, all that has been just as good, if not easier, than the Rocket Wide. It's been a super easy board to surf.
Brother number 1 here is coming in with some heavy dose of reality. I was actually lucky enough to get the first surf on this board, and it looks awesome. It looks fast. It looks quick. I like, you pick it up and it feels really good. It's super light. And for me, and the way that I surf, neutral back, I just didn't connect with it. It just didn't really work for me. So if I was to give it a rating, I'd say 2 out of 5. There is an asterisk here. I don't think it's a bad board. If you find the surfer that matches the style of surfing this board performs, then I think it's going to be a great match. I think Steven is a great case in point of that.
What maneuvers did you find difficult?
It was really slow for me. Yeah, everything. So like when I would pump, it would be sticking on the fins in the back. Like G skate obviously has a lot of volume forward, and that's what I was surfing the day prior. So coming off a G skate, which is very much more balanced, to having this board, which was heavy in the back, maybe it just like was how my surfing didn't transition well, or maybe my style of surfing. But yeah, I just kept getting stuck. I didn't feel like I was getting out of the water and getting enough speed. So when I would go up and like try and hit the lip or something, it'd be super slow, or it'd be late, or it'd be sticking at the top. Yeah, I just didn't connect with it.
So I think we'll know where this next rating is going, but for fun, what would you guys rate it?
Yeah, I'm going to go with the same thing, a 2 out of 5. Again, didn't really connect with the board. I don't think it's the board. I think it's probably me. It's not you, it's me. My style of surfing just doesn't fit for this thing.
Yep.
You know, I had a couple decent waves, and it's not like I had no fun. I'm 100% positive, had I been on the G skate on those boards, I think I would have been able to do a lot more than I did on this board. So 2 out of 5.
Over to me. I think you know where this rating is going. It's going straight to the 5-finger rating, a 5er for fun. I would say that I've been in a slump. Starting with the G skate, I feel like I could just not gain any mojo on it. I was trying to force a square peg into a round hole. It wasn't working for me. It's kind of like how you feel with this board. You know, that's how I felt about G skate. When I hopped on this board, it was like immediately the weight lifted from my shoulders and I could surf again. It felt so good. I probably surfed it like 12 times and I've had a ton of fun. You know, one thing, backside airs on this board have been so sweet. Yeah, I've just had nothing but fun on it, and I've surfed it in a range of conditions, and I've loved it. So full 5 for me.
So the last rating we do is value, and the board retails at $880. Given that price, what would you give the value rating, Steve-O?
Oh, that's a lot of money. I will note, we did not pay full price. We picked it up secondhand from a surf shop in Slow.
But that's not the question. Would you pay full price?
Would I pay full price? I don't think I would buy any board full price unless I had a steep discount. But I think for that money, a 4 out of 5, just because it's so versatile. I would ride it in small waves. I would ride it in head high surf. I'm looking forward to riding it in overhead surf this winter, fall. So I'd say, 4 out of 5. That's hefty. Almost a G for a surfboard, but I find a lot of enjoyment and fun with it. So I'm down. I'm down to dance with that price.
Can anyone guess what my rating is?
What say you?
Yes, 1.
Trip
Brother
2s,
one.
baby. 2. Like I said before, it's probably a great board. I just didn't connect with it. Got a few fun ones. Would I pay almost $900 for this board? I would not. Especially knowing how I surf on it, I would definitely not. I wouldn't pay $10 for this board.
Give it away.
Yeah. No, thank you. But if I had never surfed it before and I saw it on the rack, it would be a heavy debate for me because this board looks awesome, looks like a lot of fun, just didn't connect with it. Steven, I got a question. Prior to you surfing this board, the Rocket Wide, that was your go-to. If you were to bank these guys together, who comes out ahead?
That's a great question. I've been thinking about that a lot. Honestly, I want to surf both boards on the same day and kind of, because they both ride similarly. The Rocket Wide, I think, is a little smoother, and the Flat Earth has more like pivot, or like you can throw your tail easier.
That's not the question that I asked. I asked, which board would you choose?
I think as of right now, I would go with the Flat Earth, but they are very close. They're very close to each other.
No Podmon?
No, Podmon's out the door. I'm not going back to any fishes anytime soon. I'm sticking high performance shred sticks only, blades. Although, I mean, both really aren't blades, but I think I'm going to take a break from fishes. You can have the G Skate or sell it. I don't want to see that board for a long time. There's a really good video by Kevin Schultz on the Flat Earth. He talks about volume sizing. He talks about fin arrangements, and from someone that actually surfs really well, I think he has a lot of good feedback. In conclusion, the Flat Earth was a total score for me and a total bust for Andrew. I loved it. Andrew hated it. For us average surf dads, we've been finding that there's actually no magic surfboard. It's all about finding the board that helps accentuate how you want to surf. And in my case, I scored with the Flat Earth. If you have any questions related to volume or sizing or how to rip the shred stick like I did, please drop it in the comments below. Otherwise, we will see you out in the water.